this button up, I can pair it with some pieces from my closet and a pair of shoes that I currently own. And I know for a fact I have a full solid look. Pieces from my closet mixed with pieces from Stitch Fix. And all you gotta do is fill out the style quiz and let the style experts on their end are sending you awesome pieces like this. And as a bigger drag size, it fits everything for me. And they nailed it. And once again, things from my closet match perfectly with things from Stitch Fix. So try it out today. You get a special offer on your first fix. And on top of that, $20 style. I mean, this fit's so solid. I definitely check out these guys.
When you think of Black Friday, you think of this one shopping day right here where everybody is fighting over world. But guess what? Slumberland keeps Black Friday all month long with themes, no stress, no rush. We're talking up to 60% off list prices. Furniture, mattresses, no more. So this Black Friday, shop smart, shop relax at your local Slumberland.
Have you ever noticed that the more you chase someone, the further they seem to run? That the harder you try to prove your worth, the less it seems to matter? It's a painful truth, but one that opens the door to deep power if you're ready to see it. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything starts to shift. The silence you once feared begins to echo with curiosity. The absence you thought would be forgotten becomes impossible to ignore. And the very people you thought you needed start noticing that your energy is no longer theirs to consume. This isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about reclaiming the part of you that kept pouring into others while leaving yourself empty. It's about recognizing that the chase, the effort, the reaching, it was never about them. It was about trying to fill a space within yourself with someone else's attention. But you're not meant to chase. You're meant to attract. You're meant to rise so fully into your own life that anything meant for you finds its way without begging, without force, without fear. There's something magnetic about someone who knows their worth, not in a loud, arrogant way, but in the quiet strength of someone who's finally chosen themselves. When you stop chasing, you begin to focus inward, you begin to build, you begin to heal. You realize that the person you were waiting for was never them, it was you. It was away, not because they stopped caring, but because they started respecting themselves more. And that shift is powerful. It's what people feel when your name pops up and they wonder why your energy isn't reaching out like it used to. It's what they notice when your presence isn't a constant in their world anymore. Suddenly, the one who was always available isn't. The one who always said yes is silent. And that silence speaks louder than any words you ever said. It whispers of strength. It tells the story of someone who chose peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, growth over comfort. You see, people don't miss who you were when you were always chasing. They miss the energy you gave them freely, the love, the attention, validation. When that's gone, they start to realize what they had. But by then, you've already stepped into something greater. You stopped proving, you stopped waiting, you started living for it. Stay with this message. Let it sink into your bones. Because by the end, you'll walk away not just with motivation, but with clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you deserve, and why the chasing is with you. Not in sadness, not in bitterness, but in power. Real grounding power that comes when you finally decide, I am enough, whether they see it or not. I am whole, whether they return or not. And I refuse to beg for the attention I was born to attract. Let this be your turning point, because when you stop chasing, they start missing. And more importantly, you stop missing yourself. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you remember who you were before you forgot, before you started believing that you had to earn love, that you had to prove yourself, that you had to be louder, nicer, more available, more patient, more everything just to be seen. That lie, planted deep by rejection, by abandonment, by the wounds you never asked for, made you think that love was something you had to fight for. But real love doesn't have to be chased. Real connection doesn't come with terms and conditions. The right people don't run from your presence. They're drawn to your peace. When you shift from chasing to choosing, everything changes. You begin to walk different, talk different. Your energy changes. It becomes grounded, centered, calm. You stop reacting to every vibration outside of you and start listening to the one inside of you. That inner voice, the one you've ignored for so long, begins to rise, and it tells you something powerful you were never unworthy. You were just waiting for someone else to confirm what you should have known all along. That's the lie that dies when the chase ends. The belief that your value is tied to their approval, that your worth is a mirror of how someone treats you. But you are not made to be mirrored. You are made to be realized. And realization only happens when you stop shrinking to fit into their comfort zone, and you stop bending your boundaries just to keep the peace. When you finally say no more chasing people who can't even catch themselves, no more losing yourself in temporary moments of attention that leave you emptier than before. No more watering dead gardens hoping they'll bloom. When you stop chasing, you take all that energy, every ounce of it, and you redirect it into your mind, body, craft, healing, realize that attention is a currency, and you've been giving it away like it costs nothing, but it does. It costs time, it costs peace, it costs your dreams, and now you take it back. That's when your world begins to align. Not because people suddenly change, but because you did. You changed your frequency. You stopped begging to be noticed and instead started becoming someone impossible to ignore. Not because you're louder, but because you're quieter, more intentional, focused, grounded. And people feel that shift. They feel your absence because your presence used to feed them. And now you're feeding yourself. And as you grow, you stop needing closure. You stop needing answers. You stop needing apologies from people who never knew how to love you in the first place. You no longer chase peace. You become it. You no longer chase love. You attract it. You no longer chase worth. You embody it. That's the transformation. Stay in this space. Breathe it in. Because something deep inside you is waking up. And once you rise, you never go back. You don't return to the places that taught you to doubt yourself. You don't shrink for love. You don't beg to be seen. You walk head high, heart whole, energy focused. This is your power. This is what they feel when you're no longer reaching out. This is what makes them miss you, not just your words or your time or your attention. They miss your energy. The energy they thought would never run out, but it did. Because you finally gave it to the one person who deserved it most. You. When you finally start choosing yourself, you realize how long you've been abandoning who you truly are. All those times you say yes just to avoid being left. All those moments you stay quiet to keep someone comfortable. The countless hours spent wondering what more you could do, how much more you could give, how far you could bend without breaking. But you did break over and over until something inside of you decided it was done. Not bitter, not angry, just done. Because the chase teaches you a dangerous lie that love has to hurt to be real. That if they're pulling away, it means you're supposed to run faster. That if they're ignoring you, it's your job to be louder. The silence is not always a void. It's often a message, a moment of truth, a signal that it's time to come back home to yourself. Stop reaching outward, start reaching inward. And when you do, everything starts to feel different.